We're on.
Okay, very good. Good morning, everybody. This week's Parshat, as you know, is Tisa. And it's an interesting pasuk over here. The pasuk says, in Perek Lamed Beis, pasuk Yutes, says the following. It says, Hashem tells Moshe, Hashem had told Moshe that, they've done terrible things, so to speak. Shichas Amcha, they've turned very fast away from the derech that I command them. They made an Ekel Masech, they made this golden calf. And the pasuk says, Vayihi kasher korav el hamachana. When did Moshe Rabbeinu break the luchos? It says when he came close to the machana, Vayaras ha'egel, he saw the egel, u'mecholos, and he saw the dancing. Then Vayicha af Moshe, and he threw down the luchos. There's a very famous forno. I think many of you might have heard, and if you didn't hear it, it's important to hear. And if you've heard it, it's a very important chazara. Sephora says the following. He points out why only at this point, when he saw the dancing, the pasuk emphasized he saw the dancing, that he went and he broke the luchos. So the Sephora says like this: when he saw that they were happy and rejoicing in the kilkul she'asur, they saw they were happy about this terrible thing. They made this terrible avodah zarah, but they're so excited and so enthusiastic about it. There, Moshe felt, I have to break this luchos. They're not going to be able, they're not worthy, that he says the language, that they should fix up this problem in a way that these luchos should remain. No. That the sin is so strong and so bad, these luchos have to be broken. Because if a person goes ahead, the Bali Musa say, if a person goes ahead and he doesn't have veir and he sins, and he feels bad about the sin, right? A guy goes ahead and he spoke lashon hara and he feels bad he spoke lashon hara. The guy goes ahead and he didn't say a bracha when he ate and he feels bad he didn't say the bracha when he ate, so on and so forth. Then, hopefully the next time he won't do it again. But if a guy goes ahead and you do this sin, and you're proud of the sin, you're happy about the sin, you enjoyed the sin, you're making a whole dance about it. I think they used to on Purim, not on Purim, on Yom Kippur, there were some certain secular Jews would go ahead and make a special gala ball, a special party. Someone told me in certain kibbutzim, they would have a chag, a special holiday, a special thing of having pork and cheese, pork and milk, certain things on Yom Kippur, certain things because they were happy about it. And they wanted to just defy, so to speak. But I'm making a dance. You look back in the early 1900s, on Yom Kippur there's a special dance. They're going to make a dance party on Yom Kippur. So that's right, Anoive, correct. So that have a good Shabbos. So that's the big problem. That's the birth problem. Therefore, they're going to need a big job to fix these guys up. A big job. Because they really went so far with their sin. And therefore, we got to go ahead, they got to break these luchos. So that's what the Sephorno says. And maybe I would like to look at the positive end. If it's such a terrible thing, the Hasidim are going to give me a pat on the back for this one. If it's such a terrible thing, when you dance, when you do an Aveira, so how much the Midah Tov is greater? It's such a great thing when you're happy when you do a mitzvah. When you have an enjoyment and you rejoice and you're levidik and you're enthusiastic about the mitzvah, that means the mitzvah is a different level. It's not the same level like you do a mitzvah, you go through the mitzvah and the person's half asleep, lethargic, so on and so forth. He did the mitzvah. His lips move. Because he has to, I think it says we have to thank our bodies for bowing down at the right places because thank God the body is trained to do it. Meaning, do we know what we're doing? Are we really focused? Are we really into it with enthusiasm, with a simcha? If there was Hashem a simcha, that's how we're supposed to do service of Hashem. Lahavdil, they were serving Avodah Zarah with great simcha and dancing. When we serve Hashem, we're supposed to be with simcha. We're supposed to dance. We're supposed to feel so excited, enthusiastic about this great thing that we're doing. That's what really we're supposed to. Okay, who's making a dance now? Okay, but that's the point of the very key point of the chashivos and the importance of feeling the simcha and dancing and showing how much it really means to you. Because when you dance, it really goes from the neshama to the soul. So it doesn't always have to be dancing. It can be singing a song, so on and so forth. And that's a very important point. But at the same time, in the same time that Moshe Rabbeinu sees the dancing, And he's very angry. Vayicha'af Moshe. And at that point, there's the emphasis Vayicha'af Moshe, the Sforno points out. And he throws down the luchos. It says Vayishaba, he broke them tachas ahar. He broke them under the mountain. What do you mean? He went under the mountain to break it? How do you go? Could you go under a mountain? You can't go under a mountain. What does Rashi say? Under the mountain, l'ragle ahar. Towards the bottom. By the bottom of the mountain. But the question is, but the language of the pasuk says under the mountain. So the pasuk should have said Vayishav Osam l'ragle ahar. But it says under the mountain. So I heard from Rabbi David Feinstein, which everyone, if you want to go here live tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I can't tell you he's going to say over this thing that he said many years ago, but he'll say many other things. He said a beautiful idea. As you know, it says, by Matan Torah, by Sinai, it says, Kofa Aleim Har Kigigas. Hashem took the mountain of Sinai, and he says, listen, if you go ahead and you accept the Torah, fine. If not, here, right over here, they'll be buried. So therefore, what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, when Moshe Rabbeinu has to break the luchos, and breaking the luchos represents the idea that the Jewish people didn't keep the mitzvahs. But Moshe Rabbeinu did it in a way to melamed zchus on Klal Yisrael. That Hashem will take it a little easy on the Jewish people. How? Moshe Rabbeinu was alluding to the fact, Hashem, they were pushed into this. It was kafa aleim har kigigas. The fact that they accepted the Torah, but they were accepted the Torah in a certain way. They were forced to accept Torah. And as Rabbi Feinstein explained, you don't have to say literally they were forced to accept the Torah. As you know, the famous Tosas asked the question: why did Hashem take the mountain? The Jews said Nasav and Ishma. They said we accept it. What do you got to take the mountain to force them? Okay, so maybe they'll change their mind. Some answer, but Rabbi Feinstein explained. You could be forced in one or two ways. You could be forced because I take your hand and I force your hand. And you can be forced that when something is so clear, when something is so open, when you see fireworks and you see the Gilei Hashrina, you hear from Hashem Himself, and you see amazing things that are going on in Sinai. That it's automatically there's no choice. Of course you're going to go with this. How can't you go with this? You see all the miracles. You see like it says, "Ilu kervenu lefnei har Sinai v'lo nasan lanu es Torah." Then it's just coming to Sinai was in itself an amazing, as we say in Dayenu. That in itself is amazing. Thinking about Pesach with 30 days supposed to already think about Pesach already. Dayenu, that would have been enough. It was an amazing experience going to Har Sinai itself. Therefore, that was the kafalei makigas. That was really, in a certain sense, they had to go to do. It was obvious. It was in the open. And that's really what Purim was a new Kabbalah, Kimu v'Kiblu Meiratzon willingly. There was no open miracles by Purim. It was just you were able to see Hashem's hand in the nature and everything. And that was willingly. Therefore, you were able to open your eyes and you were able to see and you saw it. Not that because it was open miracles. And that's the Kabbalah Torah Mechadosh. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing. Yes.
By Kafalei Magigis, because it says in the pasuk, "V'yitiyatzu b'tachtit It says tachat tahar.
That idea, right? So therefore, right, that's alluded to in that Kavaleim Hagigas. They were under the mountain, and it's the same way it says they were under the mountain by Har Sinai, meaning that Chazal that Hashem Kavaleim Har Hagigas put like the mountain over them. So that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was alluding to. That Tachasa, I'm breaking it under the mountain. Hashem, remember, they were forced into accepting the Torah. When you do something because you're forced, or when you do something when you see the big miracle. So what happens is when you don't see the big miracle, sometimes you might go away, and therefore it's not sustainable. The Torah that we accept, the Kimu v'Kibla Yehudim, then is sustainable, because you'll be able to see Hashem every day and today you're able to see Hashem in our life. You're able to see Hashem in the way He works in the nature. And so that's the tachas v'yishaba osam tachas. You know, I think some say, I think Mashkiach and Michal Birnbaum said Shat. By Hanukkah we light the menorah for 8 days, right? The miracle was for how many days? 7. Why do you light it for 8 days, right? So he says, there's a famous answer, because the fact that oil lights is also a miracle. The fact that oil lights is also a miracle. You take this thing called oil and you light it. Like the Gemara says, I think Chanina ben Dosa's daughter says, "Daddy, I don't have any oil." So what did he say? The same being that says that oil, you have some vinegar. got vinegar. The one that says that oil should light, vinegar should light. And that's so too, and the vinegar lit. You think it's less of a miracle that oil lights and vinegar should light? The same way, it's a miracle that God created this world, created in the nature this miracle that oil lights, so create that vinegar lights. So to recognize that nature is also a miracle. Even the night that we had oil for the first night, we also have to recognize that's also a miracle that oil burns. That's one answer. The idea of recognizing Hashem in the nature. The pasuk says, Perek Lamed Gimel, pasuk Yud Aleph. We have here many members of the Kollel. I think it's appropriate to mention about what it says about Yeshua ben Nun. It says about Yeshua ben Nun, Umeshar so Yeshua ben Nun, na lo yomish b'toch ha'ohel. He was a na lo yomish. He leave the ohel. That means he was constantly learning. So first of all, we were medayik in other places that the word lo yomish is also a lashon future, right? Like it says oz yashir Moshe, a lashon future. And what I'd like to suggest, the idea of Yeshua's learning, the pasuk is saying, na lo yomish b'toch ha'ohel. He was learning with such enthusiasm, with such seriousness, with such hasmada, that this person lo yomish b'toch ha'ohel, you could see that he will never leave the ohel. Na lo yomish b'toch ha'ohel. He's a person that will never leave the ohel. He will always be involved in learning. It's not like the type of person that today he's in yeshiva, or today he's going to a shir, today he's learning b'charuzah, but tomorrow you don't know what's going to be. Is he going to be learning in the future? And I hope everyone right here, or everyone in this room is on the madriga that Bez Hashem we could say about everyone here. Lo yomish b'toch ha'ohel. You're always going to be learning. And it's not that you're learning today and tomorrow maybe you're not going to be learning. Everyone here will always be learning in the future Bez Hashem. But also, it refers to Yeshua as a nar. Now, the word nar, what does that mean? How do you refer to Yeshua as a nar? So the Ramban says, what did you say?
He's in training.
Training. Okay, very good. The Ramban says, the one who is the mishares, the one who serves, the gabbai,